Ray's Repair Zone here. Today I am going to be changing the water pump in a let's try this again. Ray's Repair Zone. Today we're going to the water pump in a 2005 Chevy Impala with a 3.8 liter V6 engine. And if you guys have typical water leaks, what you're going to do is you're going to check here, water leak from your water pump. You're losing antifreeze, and if you can see that little pulley down here, I'm just wiggling it a little bit. You can see if the pulley of the water pump is loose, wobbles, the bearing is gone. So what happens, the bearing goes, and then the seal's going to let go, and you're going to be losing antifreeze. This is the pulley right here, and I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to take the belt off here right away. Now you can kind of see some wiggle there. What I'll do is I'll take the belt off, and then we're going to wiggle it by hand. I did have my wrenches out here. I'll grab them in a minute and you'll see what I'm doing here. Hopefully we can get a good picture of this for you guys. Not the easiest thing to set up here, but there we go, we're getting something here. Kind of see it through the crack there from the water, right from the antifreeze reservoir. This is the, right down here, that's the pulley for the water pump. Okay. What I'm doing here is I've got a 15mm wrench, and there's the tensioner pulley right here, and down here, that's what we're going to do, is we're going to put the 15mm wrench on here. It's quite a force to lift it up, so what I do is I just tie on the other end with another end, like the box end of another wrench. I'll put it on here and you got more leverage. What I do is I'll pry it upwards now. You see how the pulley, there we go. Now, with my third hand, I'll try and take the belt off. Oh, this is not working very well. If I lose the camera, well, we'll just have to fix it. Hang on. There, now the belt is off. You can release the tensioner pulley. And we can take the belt off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up a little better. That's not very good. You can't see nothing here. Well, hope it works. I'm a mechanic, I'm not a cameraman, so bear with me here for a minute. And then I'll unhook I'm going to hook this wire and get it out of the way. take the belt off so it's out of the way. Expose the water pump a little more. Maybe you'll be able to see now. You can see the alternator, but you can't see the water pump. So let's try and fix this here. Water pump. Okay, well, I'm going to peek around that corner here. Or through that little crack. Now the water pump is right here. You can see now. You can see there's a little bit of a wiggle in there. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but I can feel it and I can see it here. Sure hope you can. Now if you're going to diagnose that the water pump is gone, because there's water all the way around in here, it drips out the bottom. I'll show you the new one. The new water pump, this is going to be the new water pump that I'm going to put in. Now what happens is when the bearings go, this is the impeller. Oop, there's the impeller. What happens when the bearings go, you see right in, where's my little screwdriver? There's a little hole right there. And then there's a little hole right here. Boy, I hope you can see him. There's a hole here. And a hole there. So one is on top, one is on the bottom. Now this is the way the water pump sits. And so on the bottom here, you got this little hole, and if the bearings go out, it'll take the seal out, and then the water or antifreeze from the inside of the engine will come out and it'll start leaking. It'll start leaking through that little hole. So anyway, that's how that works. And this one, boy, it's sure hard to see on the camera. But we caught this one in time because I don't know if you can see it. We caught this one in time and it does wiggle. So now what we have to do is we have to go and drain the antifreeze. That'll be the next step because we can't take that water pump off without our antifreeze. It'll be just all over the place. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to find a spot under the engine somewhere. It would be on the driver's side, I think, on the bottom of the radiator. That's where we got to find, it's called a petcock. And what we got to do is we got to open it up into it and drain it into a container. The far left up, I got to take this cowling off, I guess. Back in here, I'm gonna have to that's where you get at the petcock. So anyway, I'm gonna have to take some of this plastic material out of here. This whole thing's gotta go. So Before you couldn't get in with your hand. Too tight. Looks like it's going to drain right through here. Oh yeah, you guys are seeing lots here, aren't you? Okay, by the looks of it, it's going to drain right through this hole, right up. Well, right up here, that's where the petcock is. That's where it's going to drain your antifreeze out. Just have to loosen that off. Sometimes you can do it by hand. Sometimes you can do it, or you need to do it with a screw or pliers. I don't know what this is here. Sometimes you can use a 3/8 drive socket or not socket, and extension. Let's see my hands first. No, can't do it by hand. Can't see what's in there, so I think we're just going to use the pliers and start draining this. And if your antifreeze has never been changed, change your antifreeze while you're doing it. It's a good idea, because what happens is your antifreeze in time gets old, and it's called silicate dropout. It starts creating kind of like sediment here, and I'm turning this to the left. I'm hoping that it's going to actually go, and if it doesn't go, then you give it a little shot of air, it'll get the sludge out. Okay, now, oh yeah, it's coming out there. Awesome. Okay, now for it to drain quicker, you open up your rad cap. Opening the rad cap, it should start coming quicker. We'll get it off. It don't look like it is, but it is. Okay, we're going to let that drain, and then we could get on with taking the water pump off. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the pulley off. Take the pulley off the water pump, and then we can get at the mounting bolts. What I do is I'll use a strap wrench right now, and I'll put it around the pulley, so when I'm loosening it off, it's not going to, it'll be easier to hold that way. There we go, we're loosening it off now, and I'm using a awesome little gear wrench there. Since they came around, they sure helped a lot. Oops. But the trouble lights, they're still trouble. See, without that strap wrench, it might be kind of hard to hold that pulley and loosen these bolts out. So I suspect when we take this off, this pulley off, right on that lip, there's going to be all full of dirt and crud, because it's leaking antifreeze, and wherever it's wet, it's going to attract the dust to the bolt. But you see inside here now, you can see it's all wet right in here. And then I'll clean that out after. I said before, the indication of it leaking would be right here in that hole. That's the top side, and it's leaking, so you know the bottom side's going to be leaking too. So Okay, I'm back. I had to find some tools. The sockets I'm using are here, 13, and I see Chevy hasn't really done anything different. 13 millimeters, and these ones are 3/8 because the metric won't fit. And I got, I think, what do we got here? There's a 10 millimeter, too big. 9 millimeter. Won't go on there, too small. Same shit, that's all they do. Can't stick with one size, you know, metric or standard, they gotta go. I'm just gonna loosen them here. Looks like I'm gonna need a 13 mil opening. And there's another bolt under there. I'm not sure if I have to do something with power steering. Power steering's a real joy to get at here. I don't even know how a person checks the level in them. You can't get at the filler with your hand. Well, I can't anyway. You guys probably don't want to see me trying to take all these little bolts off, so what I'll do is I'll come back later when I have it all off, because I think it's going to be a little bit of a chore. Alright, here's another tip. By their infinite wisdom, you see there's a bolt down here, right there. Now, in order to get that bolt out, it can't come past that pulley, so now I got to take the water, or not the water pump, this power steering pump. It's got to come off. So there's two bolts, one on here, one underneath. It's a 13 millimeter. We got to take the power steering pump off just to get this one bolt from the water pump out. And what I did to make it a little easier, I took the there's the antifreeze reservoir right here. I took that off. It's mounted right in between here, so there's no room. And I also took the tensioner pulley off, and I checked the bearing. And the tensioner pulley, it's left-hand thread, so don't be trying to take it off lefty-loosey. It's not lefty-loosey, it's righty-loosey on this one. Anyway, I don't know if you ever heard that saying before, lefty-loosey and righty-tighty, but that's what I've heard here up in Saskatchewan or Canada. Anyway, I'm going to take this water pump, or geez, I'm always saying water pump because that's what I'm focused on, but I'm taking the power steering pump off, then I'll take the water pump off, clean the gasket all the way around, and then I'll show you what's going on in there too. Okay, here's how it looks with the water pump off. And I got to clean that gasket off, put on a new one. Never reuse an old gasket. I don't care how good it looks, you never reuse it. Just got to scrape it all off nicely, and then make sure there's nothing left on there. Make sure there's no gasket material. It's got to have a flat mating surface. Yeah, I thought I'd be able to take that top bolt off the power steering pump and just loosen the bottom. We got to do it through the pulley. 13 millimeter 3/8 drive. Deep socket would probably work better. I just used a shallow socket with an extension and a ratchet. This scraper, I've been using this. Actually, this is my other snap-on scraper. This is my old faithful. I've been using this old snap-on scraper, PK33. I've been using it, oh man, over 20 years. It's been an awesome scraper. Some of them get so stuck on there. I know I've worked on lots where you got to use a hammer on the end, just tapping away a little hammer, just to kind of like a little chisel breaking off the gasket material. It's so bad. This one looks like we're just about done. So a little cleaning up, and then I thought I'd be able to loosen off this power steering pump and just tip it over, but you can't do that. You have to take both bolts right out. Just for one lousy bolt on the water pump. Sure there's no gasket material left in the water jacket there. I'll take a little bit of hammer cloth and go over it lightly just to make sure it seals. I want to be doing this again on this car anyway. What I do is I put a little bit of Loctite gasket eliminator on. It's a good product. I've been using it lots. I use it lots for a lot of years. Good product. So what I'm going to do is once I'm done with this part, once I get the silicone on the gasket eliminator on water pump, I'll be installing the water pump. Put gasket eliminator on both sides to ensure no leaks. Gasket eliminator on here, it'll make everything seal up nice. Find where your dowel pins are. Match them up. You don't want to force it. You don't want to tighten it up if it's crooked or cocked at all, because what's going to happen is you're going to break that little aluminum case, and then you're going to be real happy. And with these other bolts I have that are corroded a little bit, sometimes you get a little corrosion on them. I'm going to show you right here. Just take those to the wire wheel and clean them up a little bit. And then I'm going to put a little bit of gasket eliminator on here too, so it doesn't have a possibility of leaking through the threads. Well, there's what they look like after they've been through the wire wheel. Hear that little snap? That means it's torqued to the proper value. Right there again. Double check them. Now we'll tighten the 13 mil ones. 13 millimeter. Always like to double check and triple check, because once you do one, tighten down the other, and it could affect the other one, the torque on the other one. Now we'll do the little guys again. There. Now what we can do is we got the water system basically all sealed up. We could, if you remember, you gotta close the petcock on the radiator, fill up your antifreeze, and I'm gonna put that pulley back on, put on the power steering pump, then the belt, fill it full of antifreeze, run it. Gotta run it, make sure that it warms up enough that your thermostat opens up, so it'll circulate the water or the antifreeze, the coolant, and make sure it's at a proper level. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. We'll probably come back to you after I get everything put together, and I'll get her running and fill it full of antifreeze.